I love a dish that can be affordable but really satisfying. And when it comes to smothered pork chops, that's definitely what it does for us. It's easy, it's cheap, but super tasty. So I can understand why it is so popular in American cuisine. It's, that down south comfort food, really nice. So let's get into making this simple, yummy dish. Now, to my knowledge, when it comes to anything smothered in American down south cuisine, it has to do with meat or poultry, just slathered with a delicious gravy. So usually it's a cheaper cut. I am using some fast fry pork cutlets today, very affordable. All I need to do is just to give it some good seasoning. So I have some chicken seasoning, onion powder, garlic powder, black pepper. I have some Creole seasoning and Cajun seasoning. Yes, I kind of emptied the pantry for this one because, it's a very affordable dish, but you want it to taste really nice. And I feel like a lot of moms, I feel like it might have been a mom that came up with this, or somebody that just wanted something really nice and tasty, but cost effective. So we're going to rub all of that seasoning into the pork, and you can marinate it overnight if you want to. Now, I have used quite a few different seasonings here, but if you have that one seasoning that you love, you can use just that one seasoning. Say you have like this pork seasoning that you love, you can just sprinkle it all over and rub it in, and then just add a little salt if necessary. Do what works for you, okay? But I wanted a little bit of all of those things in the pork today. So I'm just patting it in, rub in the seasoning, and you're good to go. For smothered pork chops, the pork is coated with flour before it is fried. You can choose to do plain flour, but I advise you to season it a little bit. So you can repeat those seasonings from the pork in the flour. Once the pork pieces are coated, then you are good to go for frying these up. You just need to pat off the excess flour and shake it off, and then you can cook these in some oil. So we're shallow frying these. You can use less oil if you prefer. So I'm using a skillet. You can use a non-stick pan if you like. We're going to be cooking these on both sides. So we're doing 4 minutes on each side, and we're trying to use medium to high heat because we want a nice color on these. This dish kind of reminds me of how we do fricassee chicken in Jamaica, where we fry the chicken, remove it from the oil, then we work on a sauce or gravy, then add that fried chicken back to the gravy and let it simmer briefly. So it's different from stewing. With stewing, you're going to be adding a lot more liquid and most likely simmering for a much longer time. These pork cutlets, guys, they are fast fry pieces of meat. They cook really quickly. So I know my Caribbean people watching, some of you might be thinking, you sure I don't need to fry this for an hour? But no, these are gonna cook really fast. They are lean and very thin. This cut of meat is very affordable, guys, and it works well for this recipe because even though the meat is lean, when you add that gravy, it's gonna make it nice and tender and so scrumptious. So once the pork is cooked, remove it from the pan, drain off the excess oil, and then add your butter. So I'm just stirring in this butter, and we're gonna be cooking up some onions, guys. If you wanna add some garlic, you can add garlic. But just remember that this is a very simple gravy. Originally, this was not a luxury recipe, so it's simple ingredients and not a lot of ingredients. All we're doing here is cooking the onions over medium heat until they are softened. We're trying to get those sugars, those natural sugars in the onion to really sweeten the gravy. So take your time, stir it around, allow them to soften, okay? And then we're gonna be making a roux. We're gonna add some flour. This is gonna give some body to the gravy, okay? So stir it around, keep stirring it for over a minute because you want to develop some flavor in there. You want the roux to be just a little bit darker than if you were making like a white sauce for mac and cheese. So definitely try to stir it around for maybe a minute and a half over that medium heat, and then we're going to be adding some broth to this. So go ahead, add your chicken or vegetable or beef broth. For this recipe, I prefer chicken broth. So just keep whisking though, because you don't want the gravy to get lumpy. So just whisk briskly so this can be loosened up. Anything that's stuck to the skillet can be loosened up, and you're gonna get a really light colored gravy. It's definitely different from the typical Caribbean gravy. We always want it to be very dark. You can add some thyme, you can add Scotch bonnet pepper if you want some Jamaican flavor. Just give it a taste and adjust. But remember that this dish is very simple, so I am not going to be adding a lot of stuff to this, okay? I'm adding some pepper and just a little more seasoning. Usually if I'm doing a gravy, then I would go in with a lot of other stuff, but I'm trying to keep it simple. This is one of those dishes that's great for a parent that wants to feed their kids something affordable and tasty. Or you could even be a college kid. You could be a teenager and you just want to cook something affordable. This is just perfect for that. Once the pork pieces are added back to the pan, you just need to smooth that delicious gravy all over. So there goes the smothered pork chops. They are smothered with this gorgeous gravy. Guys, I did add a little more paprika to the gravy so that it would have a more vibrant color, but that is it. It is super simple. You can have this over some creamy mashed potatoes or some rice. It was so good. Have you guys tried smothered pork chops before? Let me know in the comment section. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.